Time for some brand new, for us, Stargate SG-1. We're going to start taking a look at the latter period of the show with these newer ones. So, two things to know. One is that O'Neill has been promoted to Brigadier General and put in charge of SG-1, and Hammond promoted to Lieutenant General and sent to Washington to head Homeworld Command. We kick off with frustration between Daniel and O'Neill, which shows the more things change, the more they stay the same. Season 8 is the same time as Atlantis Season 1, and Atlantis was incommunicado. That's Latin for ghosting. With no idea of their situation, they're going to send the Prometheus, the Air Force's first interstellar spaceship, off to the Pegasus Galaxy to ask what's up. Daniel, as you can imagine, wants to go, but O'Neill doesn't want to jeopardize their #1 expert on the ancients. But they're both in for a surprise. General Hammond is back.
Miss the chair?
Actually, I do.
Want it back?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Well, that went smoothly. That's worrying. In Season 8, Richard Dean Anderson wanted to scale back his time on the show to spend more with his daughter. And with Don S. Davis needing to scale back for health reasons, they figured they could put O'Neill in charge, and then he could reasonably be expected to sit things out, but could also go in the field whenever he liked. As he's in charge, he gets to make the choice of who's leading missions, and thus can choose himself. So everything's sorted. Anyway, Hammond is in charge of Homeworld Command. He gets to make the choice of who's leading missions, and thus can choose himself. And since he's going, he wants to bring Daniel. He is, after all, their #1 expert on the ancients. You'd have to be an idiot not to send him.
I'll have the chair shipped to Washington. You can requisition a new one.
An idiot without a chair. So after the titles, Daniel is welcomed on the Prometheus, where Hammond admits that, rather than wanting to move towards retirement, taking this ship into battle against Anubis made him realize he still wanted to spend time on this, and even get an adventure of his own. Traveling to another galaxy, well, he and everyone else is drunk with excitement. Or for other reasons. She's the chief engineer, and having hiccups is her character trait. The less said on that, the better. Some things work better in the script than in the final reel. She tries for some better character development on the elevator ride down with Daniel, but it's interrupted by an alarm. There's a distress signal. Well, it's not far out of the way, and the person speaking is human, so it'd be nice to check it out. They're Gould ships, damage, which could mean a trap, could mean genuine rescue, or could mean this is the space equivalent of the dude in the dirty white tank top with a car up on blocks in the yard. They call up to ask if they need help, and the chief of security notes that is a valuable ship. It might be worth a salvage. Well, are they in for a surprise when they transport over 4 dead Jaffa? I don't think they turned the rings on, though. There's no zombies around here. Although these dudes are pretty close. The rings get sabotaged so the security team can't return, and other things are getting locked down. But there's something of particular note. These guys don't normally go in for the whole stun thing. Daniel sees and hears how bad it is, so he looks to get one of the P-90s with the special attachment that can deal with those guys. But by then, all of the crew has been transported to the damaged ship, conscious or not. The face of a man who knows he's going to have to justify his choice to lead this before the president. The ship's dead in the water, but at least Daniel has been left behind and has the bad guy dead to rights. Okay, someone has definitely hacked the server now. Daniel gets zatted and wakes up zip-tied to the chair and figures he should see if he can get the bad guy talking. Well, surprisingly, it works. Unfortunately,
I don't know anything about the ship.
But you are very attractive.
this is when you know everything you're experiencing is a dream. One that you will never, ever tell anyone about. Ever. Well, ain't that a kick in the oysters? Clearly this is just stolen armor she somehow acquired and seems to be making a habit of acquiring things that aren't hers. She needs Daniel's help, except he's a civilian, not a flight engineer or whatever it is for an Air Force spaceship.
Should I kiss it better?
This might still be a dream, let's not rule anything out. She manages to get the comms on by accident, which is when we hear her name as Varla, and she's trading the ship for something, which is outrageous because my tax dollars paid for that thing. Hammond learns from Chief Hiccups that the crystals for the engines are sabotaged, and the only hope is getting the ones off the damaged ship. So Hammond's going to go get them, despite the state of the atmosphere there, and that, let's face it, he's got probably 3 decades and 3 stone on the head of security. Although given the head of security lost their ship, Hammond might be making the right move after all. As for Daniel, he doesn't know the code to unlock the controls. Alright, Payne proves it's not a dream. Accepting he's telling the truth, Varla uses a Gould healing device to take care of his wound. She used to be possessed by a Gould and hopes that the carrot might work better than the stick to get the code out of Daniel. Of course, never mind the fact she was the one who shot him in the first place. He insists, no matter what she says or does, he's telling the truth. And speaking of truth, it's the moment of, as Hammond heads into the other ship. The chief talks him through the job.
You want the blue one. It should be located at the center of the panel.
Center it is. Hammond grabs the other one, but collapses, and the fear is, with life support down and the CO2 given off by staff weapons, Hammond will not only risk suffocation, but be over his limit on carbon credits. Hammond uses the last of his strength to toss the crystals through the rings. These are the wrong crystals. One's supposed to be blue and the other clear. Oh wait, I'm looking at them backwards. Hammond gets rescued.
He made him out to mouth.
What's with the look? You're blowing air into his lungs, not probing his mouth with your tongue. No wonder we lost our ship under this dipshit's watch. Actually, what he should have followed it up with was, "No, I swore his lips would never touch mine again."
Excellent waking up, sir.
You showed unconsciousness who's boss.
What did he say?
Nobody should ask and nobody should tell. Well, we'll leave this ship in their probably functional hands. Varla has sorted out the password and programmed the hyperdrive, just in time for Daniel to break out of his zip ties and show up with a Zat gun.
Listen, hundreds of lives are at stake. I'm trying to save the last of my people, and this ship is their only hope.
8 seasons in, is he going to fall for this transparent lie? Of course. But he's distracted by the presence of the disabled ship now returning, which she uses to attack him. Alright, there at least Daniel shows the light years he's put behind him. To a degree, as he lets his guard down while she's griping that he counterpunched, leaving her to... See, a fight is a fight is a fight. It doesn't have a congeniality award. Ooh, right in the Jackson Johnson. The fight ends with him put on the floor, followed by her on top of him, making out with him, before headbutting him. Yeah, that sounds like someone on a mission of mercy. The headbutt just dazed him, though, and he finally gets the Zat gun and puts an end to this, but not before the hyperdrive kicks in. Vala wakes up. Oh yeah, it's Vala, not Varla. Sorry, Claudia Black's accent threw me off. Anyway, Vala wakes up, having been taken out of her special suit that stops energy blasts and locked in the brig, or the stockade, whatever the Air Force would call it, on their spaceship. He lets her out when she complains about how long she's been starved. Yes, that fight looked like the feeble flailings of the emaciated, didn't it? Daniel lets her eat at Zat Point, where she tells of how the Tok'ra rescued her from the Gould control, after an uprising had her overthrown and the former subjects beat the shit out of her. Naturally, those are the people she's supposedly needing to save. Well, she's picked the right audience for this bullshit story, though he's taken enough blows to the face and the balls and the everything to lock her up despite that. Well, the communication from the one Vala's meeting calls, and Daniel can see this isn't the disposition of someone being rescued.
You want the truth? I'll tell you the truth.
My mother is a witch that can turn into a dragon. Daniel's going to handle things himself.
Name's Olo. Hans Olo.
Not bad, though Harrison Ford as an archaeologist seems like a stretch. Vala was coming to trade this ship for weapons-grade Naquita. So not only is Daniel now in a standoff since he won't sell the Prometheus, but Death Gliders show up and start shooting at it. Vala decides the password is great leverage for being let out, reasoning that Daniel won't let them both die just to spite her, and while she isn't likely to either, I think she's not afraid to play chicken with him. They lift off, but the ship is damaged, so it's a good thing the Outcast ship arrives to take down the gliders. That's sort of for now, but we need to get everyone back over here so we can fix this ship and leave before more come. So grudgingly, Vala unlocks the system.
What are you going to do with me?
We have a place for people like you on Earth. It's called Gitmo. He helps Vala take a nap, but the news for the ship is bad. There's no way they can risk trying to head to another galaxy without taking it back to Earth to get fixed first. And naturally, Vala escapes. And it may be a big galaxy, but she's a bigger pain. This is not the last we're going to see of her. Prometheus Unbound is a must-see, given how this is the introduction of a major new character. I give it a stamp of recommended. This is an impressive example of chemistry exceeding the script, because the script had problems. It could have used some more work, for sure. But Shanks and Black turned this combative relationship into something really impressive. It's no surprise they would turn to this as an element of the show's new direction post-Season 8. All in all, it has no business being as enjoyable as it was.